at ngazi noma ngizwakala kahle bazosha abantu lapho
live.
yeah
Oh,
Aspalend.
hayi
Oh, awu sebengeni.
okay eshimaye angijwayele yenza into ongayiboni
Hayi ngiyabona.
okay sanibonani Putontsundu 1 grade Zulu man today's session on Isintu Nesiko will be looking at the names, what's in a name basically. That can go as far as looking at igama as umsamo womuntu, igama, the names that we use to name things, the names that we use to name like roads, businesses, cars, whatever, the culture of naming basically. So sine guest yethu the legendary Zola, Bonginkosi Dlamini, Zola 7. So yeah, ngicela nisho lapho kuma comment ukuthi niyangizwa, mawuthi aningizwa, mawuthi niyabona aniboni, any problems that you have. And also there's a box for commenting. If you have a question, click on that box and submit your question there, or you can just drop it on the comments as well. It's fine. Yeah. Bonginkosi, you can introduce yourself.
observing the safety stance.
Yeah.
That's nje bukhuluma, I'm thinking of la safunda khona emadadeni. Is it possible to khona ngempela? Amadada, because kwakunesizibe esikhulu lapha called ingakani.
I'm assuming which it's based on the maybe for Ziba maybe I call that.
Possible, ne?
But I guess it's from Dark Ponds, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think they should have been there.
It just hits me now, nje bukhulu.
Madadi.
Okay.
Maybe that's what they found there, but how I call right now.
Tina like Aslam, it's a geographic thing. Southwestern Township.
Yeah, bo.
So it's not emotional.
Not that deep. Yeah. So to get to the question or the conversation.
Yeah.
Asqale on your understanding on generally on what's in a name, like when you're naming a person or when you look at your name personally, or generally what's in a name. When you look at a name, what can you get from a name? Like what people might be missing from their names.
I think maybe taking it from a point my parents say to the names are either inherited, and
yes,
there's colonial names about Cynthia, about Stephen, about George that came with the Christianity, and then there was a law in South Africa, the Christian law that did not allow you kutungene even eskoleni unless unegama lesilungu. So if you khumbula leya scene leyana with the movie ukunta kinte labambophele khona bemshaya, because lo mlungu lo mshaya he keeps on saying, say your name is Toby, and uthi my name is Kunta Kinte, say your name is Toby.
Yeah.
You know, I think bamshaza kude because he refuses, because every slave had to have a name. So maba occupy Africa, they enforced the religions, the beliefs zabo, and they came with names. Because abantu abaningi abazi ukuthi abo Lillian basho ukuthini, nabo Gwendolyn basho ukuthini. Like have we ever looked into a dictionary and find out lawo magama layo, are they French, are they German, you know, are they English, are they Dutch, where exactly do they come from? Abo Wilhelmina, which was my grandmother's name, I'm assuming it's Afrikaans because balong W, but you pronounce it as V. And
Dutch as well.
Yeah, could be Dutch, and then khona magama lawa West Africa, but ane Christian influence. Bonginkosi. And so you can already understand, okay, fine, there's already a Christian vibe. I'm assuming igama elinjalo lalingekho before colonization. And so igama more like Bonginkosi, like your tandaza, but like what did black people do, what was their version of thandaza nomsamo wabo and nokhuluma nomveli nqane before and being colonized. And then bese kuba khona amagama lawa abobhekumuzi.
Yes.
Awethu lawo abontombi kayise abontombi zodwa amanye they are a bit disappointing like abodumazile like sometimes asibuza ukuthi abojabhile uvelephi you know ubona nje ukuthi amagama nje thina nje this generation ngeke siwasebenzise.
But when I look at those now, regardless of their disappointing side, there is always like a story, because like for example Velepi, there's an interesting story about Uti. How did we even not know Uvelepi? How did we come to a point where we question Uti Uvelepi?
Yes, but you know, like namagama lawo, like do you want to ask yourself ukuthi umnikazi walo uzolithanda nama ekhula maseka qala aliquestion ngithola uthi mhlawumbe akusigama le event siyazathi ulinherit mhlawumbe kugogo wakhe mhlawumbe ugogo wakhe kwakuvelephi ngithola and then bese liyadlula to the third generation igama lenjalo futhi ngokwazi kwami liyacelwa ayangomcelwa emsamo remathunini amanye into Spanish phela but it's almost as if wonke amagama esintu they got some kind of a story, some kind of poetry, some kind of a song behind them. And then obviously umuntu mayekhula uzobuza ukuthi okay fine ngize ngiende kaMegamelo so kwakwenze njani what events yaba and then itime or already lizochaza ukuthi hayi uvelephi kwakwegama lagogo wakho or ufikelепhi igama lagogo wakho or ujabhile mara ngangisho ukuthi ujabhile but igama lagogo wakho mhlambe or uantu wami ngangimfavor or something. Or these were the events. So I mean, I'm assuming that at some point of your life as a parent, siyafika isikhathi la umuntu azokubuza ngegama. And then you must have a story ngale gama ukuthi le gama lelilavela kanjani. Or a completely new name in the family.
Right.
Whereby ama events now so aqondene now so umfana so yakhula. Then you've got certain events aqondene nawe and then you introduce new names into the family. Ama events akho.
Can that be connected with Ibongo? Because as far as I'm concerned, Ibongo as well, like mangabe unebongo zakho. Zakho just personally as umfana. They usually are based, they usually is based on ikigaba zakho. So looking at that and also connecting it to for abantu besifazane ukuthi uma ngabe umuntu eseganile. There's those families. I don't think it's all of us who do that, but some would give their umakoti a name.
I've heard of that,
Magafika, and then they give her a new name for her.
But ngesizulu she also retains isibongo sakubo asifi. Yangithola. You'll take a situation whereby originally bekunesithembu ngamaZulu. Yangithola. So kunomuntu owagama la ekhaya wakwamkhize kunomuntu owagama la ekhaya owakwaNgcobo. So you say ma Ngcobo ngibizeleni uma Ngcobo ngibizeleni uma Mkhize. So isibongo sakhe mina ngakwazi kwami ngesizulu it never dies, it stays with her as ayongena egodini because banezindle ezi different. So uma it's the to refer ukuthi umuntu wesifazane ngithola then you top it up ngesibongo sika babakhe. So ngicela ngibizeleni uma Mkhize asifi. At all.
It's more like to my understanding on this project what I've learned about umane because the prefix right that's before prefix ma it's also there like bo mabato ma whatever and then mauza ngapha kithi like njengoba usho mangcobo what that can translate to is mother of. Or now like poetically thinking about it it can also be because mother is someone who gives birth like who brings forth life so masiti ma Ngcobo it's more like we are saying the seed yakwaNgcobo umama wala ekhaya
okay esahamba sawucela amanzi kwaNgcobo okay kwaNgcobo sky permission ukuthi abe la ekhaya that is why even ngesizulu like umsamo wakhe awufi you see like when amaso umfana ungaka they say you must acknowledge both indlos like bobabakho nedlozi la kubomama akho fully yangithola awukwazi ukuthi ugabhele one because mhlambe ezinye izinto ukukhanya kwakho kuthize ukuza from a side la kamama akho mhlambe ufavor ilelo kakhulu yangithola and then uthole thina amajita big problem uthola ukuthi mhlambe maybe you're super angry with your dad over things that you've had ukwate kuze kweqa uzukwatele the entire family yakubo babakho ekubeni bekhona izinto okufanele uyozilanda khabo babakho mhlambe khona abo baba omncane nabo baba omkhulu yabona so ugrowth ufuna ukushada lokunengane kuneyimbeleko and stuff kunenkulumo othize yabona obufuna ukubasondela ngayo yabona but at that time you're too angry and then you can have this thing until uzoclock up age 50 years old instead of saying okay fine I'm not really sure ukuthi kwenzekani mina sibengakavula amehlo but let's have this dialogue ke nalaba who want to have the dialogue because khona umuntu engicokola naye manje yabona and ngifuna ukuyomcela kubo ngithola and njengoba ngifuna ukuyomcela kubo ngifuna certain names are right okay and so abafuna ukukhuluma asikhulumeni by the way what happened right give me your version of the story sengikhoti manje I can take it noma ngabe inzima kangakanani then abo omncane bazokutshela ke nawo baba omkhulu bazokutshela bayakholwa bayahlabo nabasahlabo lokwenziwani like or time mhlambe selagovishona ngithola sekusela abanye because siyakwazi ukusebenzisa indlu kababa omncane or kababa omkhulu for izinto zomsamo mawumiselwa zona ngithola mhlambe ufuna iphandle ethizo or even worse khabo ntombazana bavela bakutshela ukuthi ayisiyabuzwa tsotsi yami ufuna ukucela amanzi la ekhaya yonke into and stuff mara nje awuyolungisa into zakho kuqala hamba ngebudget yakho hamba uqedeza kini and then ke mase uqeda bese uyabuka almost as if uthwala icala lethama lakho and amajita can't it's almost difficult ukuthi manje fanele ngithwala izona engazenzanga mina ngibhayile oledlami imbuzi yamantombazane ngibhaye inkomo e1 yelobolo ngezi oledlami and stuff these things were never done but now they need to be done by me and ezidla kule mali yelobolo then fanele ngibudget for another year khane ngiyocela umuntu wami ongenzanga next so kuba like kuba ibonga ezi2 3 4 ngapha esayidini likamama kube nezibonga ezi2 3 4 ngapha esayidini la kababa ngithola I mean no baba wakho no mama wakhe umama wakhe naye unesibongo sakhe ngithola and then nangayise imflow banokukhomba umunye ugogo mhlawumbe wasesigedlane yabona like kunogogo thize kanje into zakhe zange sihlanga or uyakhuluma lo gogo depending ukuthi ulandela ini so it's a complex I don't like the word culture mina tsotsi yami ngizokutshela into eyi1 right I think culture is a tattoo, not a hoodie land. That's culture. You can call it permaculture, I can call it whatever.
Okay.
It's like into mazishintsha ziba isilungu. Kuba namagama as downgrader.
Oh yeah.
Like you can't come into our continent and find us practicing a certain religion. Bese uthi lento esiyenza culture to justify ukuthi eyakho ireligion. Yabona right isilungu sihlupha la so mina mawusibiza sihlabile as far as I'm concerned ireligion yabona and then ihluka ngokuthi wena inyongo uyikhipha kanjani isixhanto sikhipha kanjani uyaphakula noma uphakula usebenzisa kanjani so when did it become a culture and then what we do and then what isilungu does then becomes a religion when did the white wedding and I say white become more prominent than our wedding and why is our wedding has to be called a traditional wedding
instead of a
the mincing of words nje lamagama lamaso wabheka nje ukuthi hayi English ngathi that's why bathi history his story and the victors write history and then abogogo bethu and then they ended up with a situation whereby even ugawu umqombothi we flop during apartheid wafika nje ingamnazi ukuchithe and then you needed certain permissions for certain things
like now
like now when we back in that police state kind of a situation. But there was an advantage, especially when they put all of these laws around about alcohol.
Right.
They ended up with a relatively sober nation. So they were not aware during apartheid. They were fighting a majority of sober people because of the laws they had against alcohol. Had they allowed blacks to drink, we would have been the third generation of alcoholics.
So, and a lot of victories that they created for us, we wouldn't have. We would be like still fighting now.
Yeah, like I was saying, with like things need to be written differently. Like the mothers of the struggle. This is something slightly off. They've been relegated to like they're kind of like wives of the freedom fighters. and daughters of the freedom fighters.
Oh, yeah.
Not that they were freedom fighters
Yeah,
themselves.
yeah,
young John.
yeah.
So it's like, if you're going to talk about a prominent female political activist, you must put a male that went to Robben
Associated,
Island
yeah,
next. Why
yeah.
can't she be just on her own and say
Yeah.
that she held it down, or amachita agui exile, or amachita agui as a Robben Island, and whoever ended up in a shallow grave somewhere, Bulawe Askari. So like the view, man, which we need to change as producers, especially women, young black producer women,
Producers.
needs to be changed. When these people went to Union Building, Babe Bodwa.
Right.
There's
There's no man.
Yeah, it needs to be rewritten. There were political leaders themselves. They were not wives. That happened in Kaya. It's there.
It should be recognized ngalendlela le, even because mangibheka kwi history yakwaZulu.
Yeah.
Unandi.
Yeah,
Unandi is Unandi.
straight up.
There's no ukuthi Unandi ngoba.
Yeah.
yabo. Okay,
Yeah.
some people can say Unandi umama kaShaka, but
Yeah.
she is there.
She held it down.
And then yeah. Even for uShaka.
Yeah. But ungahlehla. Yangithola. Like some people need to research and find out why there's a character on TV called Mkabai. Yangithola?
Right.
And then uhlehle futhi siye manje like seriously historically sikhulume ngabo Nefertiti. Sikhulume ngabo Queen of Sheba. Yangithola? I think in the true sense of the word, the one person who was Jesus Christ, Maria.
Yeah.
And
Ubani go to Maria. Like, who knows Maria?
it's not there. There's no verse no Maria.
Yeah.
Like obviously,
Yeah.
you know,
she didn't get her say.
yeah, did bekaganga seseyintwana, did he get umama naturally she's the mother, Messiah or no Messiah,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, and there is no way we would have had Jesus Christ without Maria.
Without Maria.
So like there's so many stories that I feel that are not being told historically, and mhlambe kwakuphetha ama-lots athize we used to decide ukuthi some things go, some things they don't go, and things started disappearing.
And also there's this thing yokuthi in Africa, right, we are from an oral tradition where like izinto zethu are not recorded down like for white people, for example.
Which is not necessarily the point, because you also have the hieroglyphics which comes from Egypt. It goes all the way to Amakush. It goes all the way to Sudan. The first small pyramids. I think they're in a place called Aksum, and it's written. It's just a different language.
Oh, right.
That gets kind of like adopted later on by Ama-Latin and Ama-Greek, because they were trading and going into wars with the Egyptians, and then they end up with this modern day Espalangayo. The mapping of the stars and the traveling, the changing of the seasons, the doggone people, you know, and how AmaZulu knew ukuthi kutshalwa nini, kulinywa nini, kuhlakulwa nini. All of those things had some kind of documentation. So makuzobhala umlungu asitshela ukuthi we did not have a form of writing, like young frustrator mina ngithola. Bona I call it symbolic writing. That's why most of the time uthola ukuthi ama-Egyptologists, most of them yingamla who are not even born in Africa, they decipher it their way.
Their way, yeah.
Bathi lezi zinto lezi ama-artifacts. Like umfana omZulu mayifaka isiphandla, it's not an artifact, enye inkulumo leyo.
Yeah.
So whatever the guys in Egypt, when they were wearing their copper mala emakhanda, maybe it was energy conductors, which you can prove. We copy corner with computers and energy conduct. Maybe it wasn't an artifact, but they call them that. So they want to stay as artifacts. So we never want to find out. Babebe tella kulama pyramids that worked with them in terms of energy wise, what kind of belief did they have. So they can't exactly be. Tina, as Africans, we can't call them artifacts. We need to find out why they existed. Why kunabantu abagqoka amabhengela ecopper even not today? Actually, mangawagqokanga ngiyagula.
Right.
So why ngifaka ama earrings? You know, all of those things like AmaZulu ayakheqa and stuff. It's all of that. But going back to the name, if we wanna involve even Egyptians, involve the ancient Sudanese, the ancient Nigerians, Central Africans, there's a place called Mapungubwe, South Africa, which nobody talks about, which pretty much holds the same status as Egypt, the pyramids. It's old.
Right.
Like South Africa. ine-gold yase-Persia, ine-gold yase-China before abelungu befika la eSouth Africa. Meaning that region amavenda namashangane and the Ngunis were already trading with people in the east before kuze kufika iNgamla lapha, who are now the writers of our history. Those things still exist. They are in books if you're interested to find them. They are not in textbooks. Thina sifunde ngo-von Bismarck. Safunda nge-World War II Adolf Hitler. Okay? Totally not involved. But even masfunda ngo-Hitler, masfunda ngo-von Bismarck. The section where the Congolese actually went to fight to Hitler is not being mentioned in our history books. And the section where young men in South Africa actually went to fight to Hitler and they came back and they drowned, escaped, and they called the SS Mendy, which was actually bombed in the English Channel. And a lot of black South African men who were military trained actually drowned there. It's not mentioned in our history books. There were blacks that went and fought to Hitler World War II from South Africa. The Germans actually came to Namibia and wiped out like a whole lot of people. And some people there ran away bahamba bayohlala modern day Botswana in a place called Kgalagadi. They are actually originally from Namibia and they've been trying to repatriate themselves back home to Namibia. Right. Okay, part of it, they are part of these people, the Himba which are actually from Namibia. They live in the desert. They prefer not to. They keep to themselves. And I think that's content. So it's very important when I'm out raising in the Bayamaka.
Yeah.
I wanna,
because it can draw like that's. I'm glad that you see that importance in it because it can draw down to history. Like I mean, we just expanded on that now, so it can go down to history as far as. Once you get to know your name, the story that's behind your name can take you down. Like Jobu Shigubuti, for some names they are inherited.
Yeah.
Then you get to learn about that person. If maybe, for example, Ufusumuzi is from your uncle or great grandfather.
Yes.
The significance of that is that ngokwesintu kuyakuthiwe usuke ebuyile loyo muntu, which is reincarnation of a way.
Reincarnation, of some sort. Baze bathi lengane ifana nogogothis.
Exactly. Usuke ebuyile loyo muntu and then they give you the name. Like you said, then there has to be rituals that have to be done to get that name. Which now brings me to a point. Nowadays, I've seen like a few of my friends and some celebrities having their children named after like Ushaga, Nandi, those names.
Bambata. My first son, yeah.
Now that's interesting. Seal up. How do you can anybody, for example, Waga Zulu name their kid Ushaga, or can anybody name their kid Ushaga? What should go behind the thought process of crowning your kid a name?
I think Leo would have to consult Nenkosi Mbela Isilo Uko, but I don't think he minds because we need to keep amagama njalo alive.
Right.
And we can only keep them alive. Like lento bokhuluma ngayo ukuthi we don't have a written history. Okay, ngesizulu is called umthamundo. Okay, like siyathamunda from one generation to another, and those things stay with them. Right. So it's very important because if we don't really name a kid or two Ushaga, over the next 500 years, that name is going to fade out, and the story won't be told.
Yeah.
And so it's important to appeal it through the next generation. Take for an example, if first born Zulu boy, I named the Unubia. Unubia. Okay. That's the honor of naming her. If first born aka Ukairo. Okay. Me na my original hip hop name is Asentwana Ukush. Okay. Because I think differently, being influenced by hip hop and Elijah Sekase, at some point we researched into the migration of the African roots, the trades, and where people came from and where they went, and who became Nguni, who came and joined the Ngunis, Amandebele, Zimbabwe, which is this place called Senzangakona. I mean, Wabulawayo, but Ikona still a case render out to Wabulawayo. Okay.
There was a house as well.
Yeah, they are somebody's household. So Lamakamalawa was Gufa. Therefore, if you're inspired by a certain person, a friend of mine, Ubusi, the son, Ikamalake Ubiko.
Like Steve Biko.
Yeah.
Oh, isn't that a surname? Biko?
It's a surname.
Okay.
But now Ubiko takes it as, and he's a vigilant boy. I'm born.
Yeah.
You flop.
No, Biko,
So we draw some names from the ancient history, and then you draw some names from the things ezenzeka manje elifini yakho kuzoba khona bomvelo, nabolwandle, nabonyezi, nabothingo, yangithola. I'm more drawn very into nature and things that are into nature. I find them more peaceful. Right. That's why I'm so I get inspired by that, because the rest of the world is absolutely vigorous. At least among validate go quiet in space in some.
Yeah.
But for an example, unyezi maselusa ekhaya e Great Town kwamaphumulo. Sometimes inkomo bezinokufohla ziphume yabo. Ziphume ebusuku zihambe.
Yeah.
So akogesi lapha. So the only thing orela kuyo unyezi.
Oh yeah.
And then your eyes adjust like an animal ebusuku when an animal is hunting. Then all of a sudden you can see everything clear. You can see, but it's ebusuku, but you can see. Because ukhanyiselwa unyezi. Unyezi, it's usually a full moon nama stars.
Yeah.
So there is no concept of darkness with Africans. It literally does not exist. So that child comes into my space at a difficult time of my career. And then she comes to light things up. Then I remember that time in 1986. Yeah. Then I named the child that. And I can tell her this. My Kula, when puppy love, when she gets her first heartbreak and all of those things. By the way, here's the story, Lamfit. Okay? So you were not born to fail. It's not an option like her. So Zola,
and also it's not like you are forced to not explore or experience life.
Yeah.
Try things, fail, but you're not gonna end up fail.
Yeah, you're not gonna end up fail. Failure is not your destination. And then that's when I think on our own individual space, kuma balcony, kuma townhouse la sikhona. Let's draw information from things that are not offered kuma textbook. Okay. Let every woman read about who Nefertiti was and tell her daughters.
See, now that's the beauty of in that. Let people read about it.
Yeah.
Let them know who Nefertiti was, who
Nandi was. Yeah.
Because I think that's the key. Because once you know who she was, then you know the spirit.
Yeah.
Kind of a spirit that if you name this child,
people who ruled kingdoms. Yeah.
You'll know it's okay. This is the power behind this child's name.
Yes.
So if this child maybe name Ushaga and then they grow up to be just like Ushaga, they take up on Ushaga, and you didn't read the history of Ushaga, what kind of a person, you'll end up saying, when you're disrespectful or whatnot, you end up fighting the kid. Gandhi, it's the spirit that you gave upon the child.
Yeah, and like also adjust, I think we had this conversation last week. I've got kids who are good with art.
Right.
That means they see things in color like me, right? I've got kids who are good socially. Those are probably leaders. I've got kids who seem to be doing well with maths. Even the ancient people knew who was good in what.
Yeah.
That's why they were designers of those pyramids in the first place.
Yeah.
Then there were artists commissioned later on to come and put things in those pyramids. But those things also had a significant and sometimes an energetic conversation. King Khufu manje sekafile, here's the boat, the Khufu boat. You can read on the wall when it goes into the next life and everything. So I don't think ukuthi umntwana mangabekazi maths necessarily udom.
Yeah.
Ile inkunzi ezithanda ukudraw nasetafuleni.
Yeah.
Mbhayela ama chart, let him take art if ayithanda. Yabona, even at primary school afunda ukusketcha. Akhule ngayo because that's what he's good at.
Yeah.
Mhlambe lo omlamayo, then she's good in mathematics. It would even be a crime to say everybody in this country, every child should do mathematics and physics compulsory. If you do that, you're setting half of them for failure. That means you're not gonna have about Zola. Moving on.
And also the mindset here would shift. From looking at them or what they have
capable
skill,
of.
as something that could take them far in life.
Yeah.
Then they end up saying, no. But if I don't do about the hotel, then I can't get any far.
Society won't allow me if ungabe udokotela
They're
ne.
just boxed in.
Yeah, wayibona le hlala idrawer njalo le. Iyadrawer le nkunzi le. Inabo ma 6 ithanda ukudraw like finally you observe as a parent and it, like step out of your zone, whatever you were taught esontweni nase varsity la uya khona, step out of it and try to understand na inkunzi lapha mngoko. And like why does it like drawing? Is he gonna be like drawing? Is into technical drawing about isometric view? About 3 dimension, or is gonna go more like sketching, or he's gonna mix it up together in the future and become a graphic design? Siyava, you know. Ngihlale ngikreka le joke ukuthi bangifonele skele one day bakhuluma ngetutu yabona ukuthi say we need itutu yabona like imali engaka zakuyangibhadalela ututu mina ngingazi. Random nje ngifonele skele ngibhadalela ututu like I say it's actually a ballet dress. It's good. I always got a joke about it. But I just got to a point where I was learning things that were not offered. Kule system as Pumagu. So you need to adjust as a father. That is why Kau Mongenekas. I feel Uguti if 50% they fail because what they are good at is not being harvested.
Right.
And other than not being harvested, it does not exist in the first place. Ngithola ngeke uyekaslame so uyokhuluma ngabo catrobets,
right,
uyokhuluma ngabo field hockey, uyokhuluma ngama swimming classes, uyokhuluma ngama piano nama violin. Njengoba abantu bathi economy uzothiwa ama piano, that's actually something serious people go to varsity for. Ngithola so thola intwana zenzela ama guitar nyanga that besiwenza didn't know we're going to become music frustration. Ngithola so people are not being harvested what they are capable of, and that energy eventually manifests itself as inyawup. Because lo muntu loyo, whatever you give him, akayifuni, he wants a guitar. Mara simgayanga guitar, simnikeza everything else except guitar. I mean, at age 15, he's even going to question the existence of Jesus Christ. He's going to question the existence of Unkulunkulu himself. He's a teenager. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. It's his age to challenge everybody. Nina is to give answers. So it's like taking veggie elitize. See, expect what is okhula winter and it wasn't designed for that. Angeke likhule unless we some. So as is harvest or we don't give them the right things. So almost as if even the educational system has to change completely. Rub off everything a corner and start completely afresh and plan the next 20 years, because we need the artists going, Jayan. We need the technical drawing back. We need our technical skills. As a shy history, we need a lawyer with the country, we need a psychologist, we need a graphic designers. As in saying, moving on. Now, since the period of democracy, we see all the mistakes. Moving on after how do we redesign the country to catch up with China and everything? And yabona futhi igama lehlupha ngani sothi yami. Lento masiqala zenza ama mistake.
Right.
Kuthiwa yambona umuntu akadlamini. Awubizwa ngegama lakho. Uyibillboard yakini. Thu uyayibona ingane kaMkwena yenzani. So like uhamba lapha estradini. Ubhalwe Dlamini la. There's also the issue of surname, Mawuti what's in the name. With the surname yakho.
It's the identity.
It's the identity yakho. The clan's name, your pride, where you come from. But do you have that pride? Was it given to you? Is a young man going to be fully proud of himself if he wasn't given also his father's name and the recognition by his father's clansmen that you are actually from this surname and your people came from this place and this is the root of your people? Basuka la bafika bahlala la. Okay, fine, abantu baphelele sofathan bayophelele Zola kodwa originally ngiphuma eSkedlana. Or ngiphuma emachunu endaweni ethize. Were those things explained to a young man? No, they were not explained. So here I am ngishuthi Zola 7 ngibhalelwa intwana zamaXhosa. Zithi, is there a way we can sisejele, by the way? Is there a way we can get circumcised sisejele? And observe yonke lento leyo yobuXhosa, because we beginning to believe ukuthi sisejele because asolukanga mfundi. Their argument ukuthi aboluka. And abase low cop. So low cop it's originally a farm. So you can see the farm kunejele and then it's a farm we farm emazambane during apartheid. And they were saying there is a space for us ukuthi siye entabeni. Sixhelelwe apha then ke sizobuyela ejele, but can't basoluke na. So a problem because zifuna uku-initiate thina masisponsor amantombazane ahambe emhlangeni lapha enyokeni
Yeah.
yazi yayibuza bapha abafana
Yeah. We had that conversation actually.
lamantombazane azojola noba
Because we kubona abafana laba how can I put it? Abangasokiwe.
abangasokile abangagrumwanga we don't have a sense of belonging. Okay, if itama lakho lingekho, there should be a group of men that you can go to.
Yeah,
where
it
we
takes
can
a village to raise a
yes. So le ntwana lezi azike emhlangeni ukuzosupporta lamantombazane. But there is no if their version yomhlanga ikhona yabafana, it's not popular. Even nalezi zamantombazana even wrote a song ethi sebokuxoxela mntana mabebuya khona inyembezi zamajiji because khona laba aba attendayo umhlanga mawukhona la eGoli, but truly speaking they can't afford ukuya enyokeni. Enyokeni idinga itransport, idinga ukudla, idinga itoilet.
Right.
Uthola ukuthi they can't afford it. Imali yobhiya la ekhaya ikhona kodwa ayikho kokhokhela ingane ukuthi ingane ihambe emhlangeni yabo. So by the time she starts doing wrong things, ekhanda like she's justified. Ngizamile.
Yeah, ne.
And bang failure like her. Or maybe she's stuck in between a war. Mhlambe asithi mhlambe kubo kusemndeni. Khabo mama ke la ehlala khona. Mara mhlambe khabo time mhlambe kusethembisa.
Right.
And ibambane ngeyihluthu since azalwa lo mntwana. She has to go this side akhulume nabo, she has to go that side akhulume nabo, but bona bafuna ukukhuluma.
Can be, yeah.
And at some point they thought ngeke akhule lo muntu.
Yeah.
Ngeke athele athombe abe intombi besafuna ukubuza indaba zakhe. Then we have a problem.
Based on personal conflicts.
Yeah.
Personal decisions.
Ilala magama ne dispute aphuma khona. Abompi yakhe laba and stuff, you know. Because abongenzeni, because people that are questioning all of these things, and then kids inherit these funky names because of izinto abafile ukuthi they were not justified ezingenzwanga kubo. But uthola ukuthi even ama parents ethu, some things were not even done for them. So we third generation of the same problem.
You still have to fix. Now, singasidlale kakhulu. Let's just quickly go to you taking us through the difference between, or the naming of, the choosing of the name, or whatever the naming is for Zola 7 versus Bonginkosi Dlamini in terms of like the characters. What came to your mind when you decided to name the character Zola?
Okay, Bonginkosi Dlamini, that's a holy name, my man. Those are seven Samuel, those are models. You don't mess with that. Okay, you condemn uhulumeni incwadi emnyama kamazisi, incwadi elihlaza kamazisi nama passport yangithola. Yeah, kuba khona nje igama lakho lobumsizwa la sestradini.
Yeah.
Which engikhule nazo before, like masiqala ukurhyma, they still call me Ukush up to today. Uncle lami elinye igama lalofani bekabizwa uSoweto Mavusani wase White City. But there was this story about his Zola which was just everybody assumed ukuthi si flop.
Right.
Like Uzalwe Zola, you were born in a perfect environment to fail. Marozoenza ma flop before you fail, and at some point of your life you're being a leli chachi yonke lonto leyo. So it was very important ukuthi ngitshela abantu ukuthi ngiphume Zola. By the way, I'm a TV presenter. By the way, I'm a good actor. By the way, ngiphume Zola.
that spirit yabo Kendrick Lamar, bringing up Compton.
I'm from Compton.
Yeah.
And then I've always seen that there's a difference between Zola 7, which was a project of me trying to help the people back in the country, especially the youth.
Yeah.
And Zola, the artist.
Yeah.
So eventually public decided to fuse it ngaveleng about Zola 7. But the number 7, mangenzi mistake, moyilandela kahle. I don't know whether it's 53 or 553, but ivela several times in the Bible.
Right.
Ivela several times with Quran. The religions of the East everywhere. It just keeps on showing up the number 7. It's a very important number. It's considered very holy. So I needed to carry it to protect myself spiritually. Then once abantu bazi ukuthi ngihlala eZola, then I get a chance of telling stories saseZola.
Right.
Kuze kujoko omunye umfana one day sihlele park inathi Bonginkosi, zingibiza Bonginkosi ke ekhaya. yazi Bonginkosi la elokishini masibona umlungu, it's either uze nawe or iphoyisa. Yeah, but nomfana kaMashu has a story to tell.
Yeah.
Nomfana waseGugulethu has a story to tell. Namhlanje besigugulisha actually something that nobody attends. There is an event yenzeka eGugulethu. It's called the Gugulethu 7, where young 7 men were mowed down by askari and killed. Nobody talks about it. I did it as an episode once a very, very long time ago. Eventually by Fagi Monument, but nobody knows about the Gugulethu 7. These things frustrate me. And young people must take cameras and go shoot that, find the families and interview them. Content is about that.
Yeah. That's our story.
Yeah. And then when you come out into the world, you say, I'm from Soweto, okay? Specifically in a place called Zola. This is what you know about Soweto. But I'm from the back of Soweto on the other side, okay? In a place called Zola, where all the taxis actually do a U-turn, Mdeni, and then pass. It's one main road that connects all Amakasa to Soweto.
Yeah.
There's another main road connects all Kamakasa to Soweto. There's a main road called Bolani, connects all Kamakasa. Before you exit Soweto, find your in lizards.
Yeah.
But by the way, there's a school called Naledi High.
Right.
Point of correction. The fight in 1976 did not start in Orlando, actually. It started in Naledi, and nobody's telling that story. There's a place called Naledi High where the actual riots actually started. So the history has been told wrong and needs to be retold again, because we're putting pressure on all of those things. There are stories, there are also freedom fighters that nobody is telling any stories. And it felt as if everybody had a responsibility to say something like, and then it became a trend. Now maphume Kastlak sifuna ukuza story sakho.
Yeah.
If utuphume Gugulethu, do you know ngeGugulethu 7 and how far do you know? Ama riots ago Richards Bay. Were you there or were you not born yet? Did you lose a family? Is there a monument there? Esibegiwe. Are we telling the kids about that story?
Right.
Because all the things that happened before the first inauguration of a black man as a president in this country, the other ones are behind, but we may not forget them. Moving on, the kids need to know what happened. How was the Newcastle born in Mataten? Why does it exist? Where did it come from? Why is there a place called Mangusutu Technicon?
Yeah.
Technicon? Why is there a freeway of the same name? All of those things need to be taken into context. Moving on.
Right.
Have we built enough schools to have all of these political figures, the schools named after them? Moving on. Okay. If ungene Soweto le monument Liana Babies Hector Peterson Memorial, ne Vilakazi Street, which has got 2 Nobel Prize winners. Phezulu Baba Mandela Zansi Ubabu Tutu. Okay. But Maujiga a couple of streets in Luga Winnie Mandela ngayi side. So it's kind of like a triangle of very important houses. But I believe Lonki Castle in a story sinjalo. So why are those stories not being told? The Sharpeville massacre. Sharpeville massacre. Yeah, man. So,
that's all.
So, like the young people are being ripped of the information and the knowledge that they are entitled to, which that is content that should be on TV. Ukuluma ngabo Compton, straight out of Compton, the movie 8 Mile. But
Yeah.
It's not a hip hop thing. Okay?
And
and then Hamambazo Atini, hi, Gumnandi, where gite mnambiti. I sang a hip hop.
Yeah.
Tuka African. So ikona kumbhaqanga ikona kungomabsuku ikona Soul Brothers umthamundo storytelling, and as long as those vinyls exist we have that story. The question here was, where are the producers and the directors? Where's the budget to take that content and put it on TV versus screwed, which will never be ours.
I think for today's session, of course, we've learned like a lot, and there's still more that we could learn, but in terms of time limitations, because number commitments and all of that as well, so we can just cut it up. I hope people heard everything there and learned things. Did they give them questions there? Nothing. Okay, it's cool.
Questions? We are not having questions.
I'm sure akafunda ama-comment.
Hayi ngifuna ukuya ekhaya today. Awukahle.
Yeah, no, thank you to everyone for tuning in, and thanks to Zola. We hope some music is coming, because people will be asking the
Music will always be there. It's like a never drying river leyo khohlwa mfana.
Yeah, follows. Yeah, so keep an eye, follow on at the real Zola 7, eh? On Instagram. Angwazi kamanye angikho ku Twitter as well, Facebook, whatnot. See you when we see you next time.
Hola
7.
I don't know how to end this. So save it first.
Can I smoke?